A world dies without warning. The air turns thin and cold, as if age itself begins to settle into every breath. Metal structures groan like ancient ruins, their surfaces cracking, peeling, and collapsing under centuries of decay that unfold in mere seconds. Entire streets twist and crumble, statues erode into sand, and the once living become little more than brittle husks that collapse into dust. The camera moves slowly through this impossible devastation, a hive city aged 1,000 years overnight. And somewhere in the darkness, barely visible, a hunched silhouette slips between the shadows. Not a monster of claws or fangs, not a demon dripping corruption, not a tyrannid hive beast hungry for biomass, but something stranger. Something quieter. Something that kills by simply existing. A whisper cuts through the eerie silence. Somewhere out there, the Hrud have passed through. The Warhammer 40K galaxy is filled with species that specialize in destruction. Some conquer through brute force, others through manipulation, fear, or raw cosmic power. But none compare to the one Xenos race that does not need armies, weapons, or invasions to wipe out a world. They simply move, and time itself bends around them, aging everything they touch into ruin. This documentary will take you into the darkness where the Imperium rarely looks, into the underhives and forgotten tunnels where shadows seem to breathe, into the myths and fragments of lore surrounding the Hrud. We will uncover who they are, what little the Imperium truly knows about them, how their terrifying entropy field works, and why their migrations remain one of the most dreaded and least understood events in the galaxy. Prepare to explore the most mysterious Xenos ever recorded, the race that can doom a planet by walking through it. The Hrud. The origin of the Hrud is a puzzle that even the oldest Imperial archives fail to solve. Their existence is so deeply buried in myth, rumor, and fragmented xenorecords that historians can only guess at where this shadow race truly came from. Some claim the Hrud were once servants of the Old Ones, created as living agents of entropy meant to counter the Necronter and their soulless legions. Others believe the Hrud emerged naturally from the warp, forming as strange parasitic entities that clung to material reality like shadows seeking warmth. And then there are those who argue that the Hrud did not evolve at all. Instead, they're refugees from a broken timeline, displaced beings slipping out of sync with normal spacetime. The truth is hidden behind a veil thicker than darkness. The Imperium's few confirmed encounters have been incomplete, and any attempt to capture or study a Hrud ends in the collapse of time-sensitive equipment or the sudden aging of entire research crews. What little the galaxy knows has been collected from abandoned worlds, decayed structures, and rare survivor testimonies. The Hrud's past is lost, but their presence has shaped thousands of Imperial nightmares and countless ghost stories. Describing a Hrud physically is nearly impossible, because their bodies refuse to hold a stable shape. Witnesses often report seeing hunched, ragged silhouettes, wrapped in cloaks that seem to swallow light rather than reflect it. These forms appear stretched, bent, or oddly proportioned, like figures glimpsed in a half-remembered dream. But the more one tries to focus on them, the more their shape melts into a twisting shadow. Some describe long limbs, others short. Some see insectoid outlines, others a human-sized wraith-like creature. This inconsistency is not a matter of fear or poor lighting, it's a direct consequence of the Hrud existing partially out of phase with time. Their biology violates the rules of physical reality. Internal organs appear displaced, skeletal structures flicker into different configurations, and their skin shifts as if resisting solid form. The few Hrud corpses examined by rogue tech priests have dissolved into dust within minutes, often causing the surrounding environment to rot. Even their presence warps sensory perception. Auspex tools malfunction, cameras distort, and Vox signals degrade. To stand near a Hrud is to feel the subtle drag of aging, a sensation of years pressing onto your body, as if time itself is no longer stable. The most terrifying and defining aspect of the Hrud is their entropy aura, a chronodistortion field that bends time around them like a dying star bending gravity. To the unlucky beings caught in this unnatural effect, decay becomes a weapon far worse than claws or plasma fire. Metals rust into flakes within seconds, turning once solid armor into hollow shells. Flesh shrivels, dries, and collapses into brittle husks that resemble bodies exhumed after centuries. Machinery sputters, melts, or simply ceases to function as its components degrade beyond recognition. Imperial scientists theorize that the Hrud do not attack intentionally. Instead, their very biology radiates a field where entropy accelerates uncontrollably, possibly a side effect of their connection to the warp. The closer one gets to a Hrud, the faster time flows, but not for the mind, only for the body and the world around it. A perfectly healthy soldier may instantly age decades, his bones becoming fragile and his organs failing. This power makes open conflict with the Hrud extremely rare, because traditional warfare becomes meaningless. Bullets corrode mid-flight, blade edges crumble, and even lost weapon circuitry fizzles out. The battlefield itself dies before the soldiers do. When the Hrud migrate, entire worlds flee in terror. These migrations are not invasions fueled by conquest or hunger, they are enigmatic movements of millions of shadow creatures drifting across continents like a tide of living decay. Wherever they travel, their combined entropy fields overlap, creating a planetary wave of accelerated aging. Cities crumble as if abandoned for centuries. Crops dust away before harvest. Vehicles fall apart mid-journey. And anything living, human, animal, or Xeno, succumbs to rapid biological collapse. Imperial records describe worlds found abandoned and silent, their infrastructure reduced to the worn stones of forgotten civilizations. Cities that once held billions had decayed so completely that identifying the era of construction became impossible. In some cases, the surface resembled archaeological ruins thousands of years old. The Imperium's response to Hrud migrations is almost always evacuation, not defense. Some commanders have attempted full-scale military action, but the results were catastrophic, armored columns breaking down, entire regiments aging to death in their trenches, communication lines falling apart. Because the Hrud do not stand and fight, there is nothing to shoot at, nothing to negotiate with. A migration is a silent apocalypse, a slow-motion extinction event delivered in hours. The Imperium's encounters with the Hrud are scattered across history like warnings carved into stone. One of the most chilling was the Disolium Hive incident, where a bustling hive city was found aged beyond recognition in a single night. The structures had collapsed into archaeological ruins. No bodies were found, only dust. Another recorded event involved the Ultramarines, who engaged Hrud forces briefly during a cleansing campaign. Even with the might of the Adeptus Astartes, their armor systems degraded rapidly, and tactical gear malfunctioned, forcing a retreat. The Vermian Darkness incident remains the most horrifying. PDF troops reported seeing shapes in the tunnels, barely visible except for faint, shimmering outlines. When the soldiers advanced, their weapons rusted instantly, and their skin began to wrinkle and tear. Vox recordings captured screams abruptly cut off as the squad physically aged into skeletal remains. Other encounters occur in underhives and neglected cities where Hrud infestations take root in the shadows. Civilians often describe moving darkness, unexplained decay of household items, or family members rapidly falling ill with symptoms resembling extreme old age. The Adeptus Arbites classifies these areas as quarantine zones, but by the time they respond, the Hrud have already moved on. Despite their primitive appearance, the Hrud wield technology that defies scientific understanding. Their signature weapon, the so-called fusel, is capable of projecting concentrated waves of entropy that corrode armor and melt soldiers into dust. These weapons are fragile yet devastating, built from organic-looking materials that twist and pulse with a faint warp-like shimmer. Some Mechanicus adepts believe Hrud weaponry is partially alive, or at least grown rather than forged. Their society operates in loose, nomadic clusters, often moving underground through sewer networks, collapsed tunnels, or abandoned industrial sectors. Hrud do not build grand cities. Instead, they create sprawling warrens of shadow dens filled with strange symbols, decayed relics, and unknown chemical residues. Their culture appears deeply spiritual, oriented around survival and secrecy rather than domination. Many records suggest they revere ancient beings, possibly old ones, or perhaps something else hidden within the warp. Their rituals are cryptic, involving lightless gatherings where their cloaks merge into a single mass of darkness. While they avoid open war, they are fiercely protective of their colonies. Any attempt to breach a Hrud den is met with overwhelming entropy backlash, turning entire strike teams into piles of dust long before shots are fired. Their civilization thrives in secrecy, unseen yet ever-present. The Hrud inspire endless theories across both Imperial scholars and Xenos savants, each trying to grasp what these creatures truly are. One of the most prevalent ideas is that they are descendants of the Old Ones, engineered to manipulate time as a counterweapon against the Necrons, whose mastery over death challenged the galaxy itself. According to this view, the Hrud's entropy field is not a mutation but a design, a last-ditch measure by an ancient empire now long extinct. Another possibility is that the Hrud originate within the warp, but unlike demons, they are permanently stranded between realities. Their shifting forms and unstable biology hint at beings caught between two timelines, slipping in and out of sync with the physical universe. A darker theory suggests the Hrud are not a species at all, but victims of cosmic degradation, a once normal race driven into collapse by exposure to catastrophic temporal anomalies. Their migrations may not be deliberate but forced, as they desperately move to escape their own decaying existence. Whatever the truth, every theory agrees on one point: the Hrud do not belong fully to the present. They are echoes of something ancient, broken, and powerful, a reminder that time itself can be a predator. Of all the Xenos threats that haunt the Imperium, the Hrud represent a unique kind of fear, one that cannot be confronted with bolters, flame, or faith. Their danger lies not in aggression but in inevitability. They bring decay simply by being present. No fortress wall can withstand centuries of erosion compressed into minutes. No starship can function when its reactors, circuits, and armor plates rot away before they can be repaired. The Imperium fears the Hrud because they are a hidden enemy. They strike without battle cries, without fleets, without visible armies. By the time the Adeptus Administratum notices records of increased underhive decay, by the time civilians report unexplained aging, the infestation is already too advanced. Entire sectors can fall without a single shot fired. Strategically, the Hrud pose one of the greatest threats to Imperial infrastructure. A migration passing through a forge world could destroy irreplaceable STCs. An infestation on an agri-world could cause complete harvest collapse. Even Space Marine chapters risk equipment failure, gene seed degradation, and biological aging during prolonged exposure. In a galaxy full of violence, the Hrud represent a slower, colder terror, the unstoppable march of time itself. And nothing in the Imperium is built to survive eternity. The galaxy is filled with monsters that roar, scream, charge, and tear their way across the stars. But the Hrud are none of those things. They are the silence at the edge of a dying world, the shadow passing through a forgotten tunnel, the unseen presence that turns civilizations into ruins older than recorded history. Their power is not loud or violent, it is patient, inevitable, and absolute. A single Hrud migration can erase cities, topple empires, and leave entire populations reduced to dust and memories. And yet, for all the devastation they bring, we still know almost nothing about them. No diplomacy, no records, no captured specimens, no clear images. Only the evidence they leave behind, worlds aged beyond recognition, structures collapsing under impossible timelines, and survivors whispering about shapes that moved where no light should have been. As long as the Imperium endures, so will the fear of these silent wanderers. Every unexplained collapse, every abandoned hive sector, every sudden outbreak of corrosion or unnatural aging raises the same chilling question: have the Hrud passed through here? And if they have, it is already too late. If you want more deep dive documentaries into the shadows of Warhammer 40K, remember to subscribe, share, and let me know which mysterious Xenos or lost legends you want explored next. The galaxy is vast, and its darkest stories are still waiting.